So before teaching you to beat blackjack and make money, I think I need to take some time to undo any potential bad habits that many of you may have developed over the years, as well as debunk some misconceptions about what will and won't work in a casino environment. Let's start off with a concept called progression betting or martingale betting. A lot of people stumble across this organically on lots of different casino games, particularly the ones like craps and roulette that have even money bets. What it is basically, say you bet $10, and if you win, then great. But if you lose, let's say you lose, you double your bet to $20 next time. So that way, you'll win your $10 back, plus the additional 10 that you were trying to win in your previous bet. And you continue doing this until you win. You continue to double. So say you lose that $20 bet. Well, now you bet 40. And so on until you win. Now, this is a decent, it's a decent strategy. I really can't knock it because mathematically it does work. But here's why in an actual casino it doesn't. First of all, you need a massive bankroll, basically infinite, to be guaranteed that you win every single time. Also, you're using this massive bankroll to make a relatively small amount of money per hour. Right here, I've got $1,300 here. These count as 100, these count as 25, and each of the reds count as 5, for those of you who aren't familiar with the color denominations. This is $1,300 here that I'm using to chase $10 wins. That's kind of ridiculous. If I had $1,300 at a casino and I were counting cards, I could make a whole lot more per hour than I would be making with martingale betting. But even with this much, this is 130 times our initial bet. Even with this much, we can't actually win money using martingale betting in the long term because casinos have what's called table limits, meaning that say if this table had a $10 minimum, they would have probably around a $500 maximum. Let's say for the sake of argument, it's a $500 maximum. Let's see how far we can get with martingale betting on a bad stroke of luck. So here's our $10. Let's say we lose that. So now we're going to double to 20. And we lose that. Okay, happens all the time. We'll just shake it off and double to 40. Now we lose the 40. So now we've got to bet $80 to chase our original $10 win. We lose the 80. Now we're up into the hundreds. Here's 160, which is double 80. So we lose the 160. Now we've got to bet $320. Oh, 20. To chase our original $10 win. And here's the worst part. Say we lose 6 hands in a row, which has happened to me quite frequently. Now we actually can't double to what we're supposed to. We're supposed to put now 640 out. But we can't because the table limit is 500. So now we're putting out a $500 bet to chase a $10 win that we won't actually get if we win. That's why progression betting in the long term is just not a good strategy. So now that we know that martingale betting or progression betting isn't a good strategy, let's talk about some blackjack specific misconceptions that I want to debunk. And the first is one that I'm honestly sick of hearing at the tables. If you say this, please stop. And that's that blackjack is a team sport. Meaning that all the players are versus the dealer, and that if a player makes a wrong move and they take a dealer's bust card, meaning the card that will make the dealer's hand over 21, which will make the dealer lose and everyone win, if a player takes that card, then they are a weak link on the team. They are not playing the team sport. First of all, that's ridiculous. Blackjack is not a team sport. If it were a team sport, then we would all be sharing and everyone would win or lose equally. It's not a team sport whatsoever. Secondly, the idea of everyone ganging up on the dealer sounds noble, but you actually can't do this effectively unless you're cheating because nobody knows what is going to come out of the shoe, what is going to be pitched from the deck next. There's just no way for you to know without actually seeing it. Which is in most cases, that's cheating. There's a lot of versions of the team sport theory. One is that whoever is playing on first base is responsible for how the rest of the hand goes. The other is whoever is on third base is responsible for not taking the dealer's bust card. It doesn't matter where you sit. The actual probability of which cards come out when is totally random, or it should be. It's totally random, and there's no way for you to influence that by how you play in the long term. So please, let's ditch the team sport theory. Another theory that I want to ditch, because, and this theory comes up in a lot of casino games as well, but in Blackjack it's called the flow of cards, which is basically, it's the longest running myth about Blackjack, and it's that sometimes you will, in a shoe, you will hit winning streaks or losing streaks. It does seem to happen, I'll admit, but it's a fallacy. It's totally random and unpredictable. Your brain tries to make sense of patterns when you're in high-stress situations and when there's money on the table. Usually that's considered a high-stress situation. But your brain is finding a pattern where there isn't one. There isn't a pattern. It's totally random. Let's get off Blackjack for a sec. Let's talk about flipping a coin. That's a favorite example of a lot of statisticians. So if you flip a coin, everyone knows that it's a 50-50 chance that it's going to come up heads or tails. So let's say I call heads, there it's tails. There was a 50-50 chance there. So what is the chance that it's going to come up heads the next time? There's heads. What's the chance that it's going to come up heads now? There's heads again. So do I have less of a chance of it coming up heads next time? There's another heads. You see, it can be heads or tails. And every time that we flip the coin, I could flip this coin 10 times in a row and get 10 heads. And the 11th time that I flip this coin, there will still be a 50-50 chance of me getting heads or tails. The odds do not change depending on what the previous results were. Casinos use this concept of streaks all the time to try and get people to bet money. They put the numbers that have hit recently on the roulette wheel, they only put about 20 of them out. There's 37 numbers on that wheel. There's a 1 in 37 chance that any of those numbers is going to come up. I'm talking about a 00 wheel, obviously. There's a 1 in 37 chance that any of those numbers are going to come up. So knowing the past 20 spins is completely useless to any players. But if you see that a number's hit twice, then you either think, oh, that's a hot number, I need to put money out on that number, or you think, oh, that number is hit too many times and so it's not likely to hit again. I better put it on a different number. Both of those theories are completely wrong. The odds are the same every single spin, every single coin flip, and every single time that you deal the cards. A dealer could bust 20 times in a row, and his odds of busting haven't changed on the next hand. You could win 20 times in a row, and your odds of winning or losing the next hand don't change at all. Well, except they do, but not for the reason you think, and that's what counting cards is about. In the next video, we'll talk some more about why counting cards works and discuss some of the common myths that people hear about it.